Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Case. This is a podcast where global leaders from Harvard Business School's OPM community join in a personal capacity to share the real lessons, life principles, mental models that go behind building enduring companies. And I think the podcast is so powerful because every guest on this podcast is a business leader who's gone through a lot of growing pains. They've learned lessons the hard way and they come and talk about it openly on this show. They've then built companies which span across multiple countries and continents as well. And they bring in their learnings from all these different cultures, different geographies to share the learnings with us. And in that capacity, our guest today is Djo. Djo, it's a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I love the idea of the podcast. Like you said, I think it's very powerful to be able to, to share experiences, and hopefully bring something to the table in terms of impact. And if one experience can help the other person somehow, that's powerful. So happy to be here.
Yeah, Joe. Joe, how do you introduce yourself for the listeners? What do you do professionally? Talk a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, the best way I can introduce myself is to say that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've worked most of my life. I've worked in two different main sectors. So the first sector I was acquainted with and started loving was became also a passion of mine, which is the music sector. So music and entertainment, and the second sector is the professional services and focused more on human capital, where we have it's basically a 360 HR company, group company, which from the beginning is my parents' company, so it's a family business, and I've been working in those two sectors for, let's say, around 20 25 years. 25 years in the music sector, 20 years in the HR sector. And throughout these years, I also started other businesses. So I have one business in financial, so in fintech, one business in fintech, and I've started other businesses. Some have gone good, some have gone bad, which is the life cycle of entrepreneurship. I can say, but it's mostly around services. I've never started something that is like a production or something like that. It's been more around services. And 5 years ago, I started investing as well as a business angel, different ventures, because I basically understood that I didn't have all the time in the world. I didn't have all the energy in the world. I had experience, and there's a lot of bright people out there that have great ideas that can do some of the stuff that I can't do, because you also realize growing up that you don't have all the time in the world, and that you don't necessarily have to do everything. Right. So and I started enjoying that as well. And now I have a portfolio of 15 companies, maybe in different branches and different lines that are not mine necessarily, but where I maybe see some kind of potential synergies into, and especially a global growth potential. And that's a little bit where I'm investing today. Yeah, that's in short, that's how I can introduce myself. So entrepreneur, and an investor, and today also do a lot of board work. So I'm on the board of a bank in the DRC. So I'm half Swedish, half Congolese. It's also good to know. So I've between both countries my entire life. So there's a lot of Swedish and a lot of Congolese experience and life experience, but also professional experience.
Great, wonderful. Thank you for that very thorough background on yourself. But take us back to your early years. Are there any experiences from your early life that still influence how you go about your business dealings today, how you go about your experiences and decision making today?
Yeah, I think so. I am someone that believes that the handshake is still something that is powerful. That's how we started when we were younger. We didn't know anything about contracts. We didn't know anything about a lot of stuff. So it was very much trust, gut feeling, handshakes. So even today, I mean, when I do take decisions, I try to listen to my inner self. I try to listen to my guts, and I think it's a lot about falling in love with the idea, falling in love with the product, falling in love with the person selling you the idea somehow, right? So, and that's probably something I have from my music years. So I used to be a musician. I used to be a rapper, so I couldn't sing, but fortunately there was rap. So I could express myself in rapping and songwriting. So it was very you knew you had a hit when you could hear the hits, because you each part of your body was telling you, okay, this is a hit, this is a song, and you fall in love with the song. And that's a little bit how I've done my business as well.
And your music recording company has won 2 Grammys as well, correct?
Yes, exactly. So we won 2 Grammys as a publisher. So basically, our songwriters wrote the songs that won the Grammys.
What do you think is so unique about rapping that makes it so loved everywhere, world over? Right? I grew up in India. I didn't understand most of the lyrics of some rap songs in the West, but I love the tunes, and I would find myself humming them without knowing what I'm saying.
Yeah,
As an
yeah.
artist, what
It's
do you think
it's
it is
funny
about?
because
Yeah.
when I started rapping early 90s, music lovers and music people were, saying that it was just a phase, that it was just a trend, a phase, that, it started community based, and people thought, yeah, but it's just going to stay within the community. It's really not going to cross over. It's not going to become big. And, fast forward to the thousands, hip hop and rapping became the pop of that time, of that period. And today rapping is just as common in every household as rock, right? Or as any other type of popular music in the world. Why it is like that? It's a good question. I think it has to do a lot with feelings. Even though you don't understand the lyrics, but you, like you said, you understand the flow. You listen to the voice. It might be that you feel some kind of struggle, or you feel some kind of emotional connection, or it creates, or it wakes up some kind of emotion, the rapping, that it makes you go with it. And obviously the beats and everything, it's groovy, it's easy to follow. So I think it's more about the emotional connection you have, which made it, which made it popular, because it was raw. And rapping is very raw. And at the same time, if you do listen to the lyrics, most of the rapping, I wouldn't say that today's rap is like that, but at least, the beginning of rap, and throughout the first 2 decades, I would say, of rap was very much connected to poetry. So the better your lyrics are, the more you can rhyme, the more truth you put into your lyrics gives it some kind of raw and poetic feeling. So that's my answer to you. That would be my answer, and why I love rap, for example.
Thank you. As an entrepreneur, has there ever been a moment when you questioned your journey on your path as an entrepreneur? And if yes, then how did you keep yourself going?
Many times over. I think it's like, I don't know if it's like that with you as well, or others, but it's like it comes in phases, when like, I don't know, each third or each fifth year, you tell yourself, why am I doing this? Why I could just, have a salary, work from 9 to 5, go back home and live my life, right? Why do I keep, like, hurting myself so much? Am I a masochist or something? Do I like to get hurt? But then at the same time, I believe that entrepreneurs have this will of thinking out of the box, of taking on challenges, on not backing off. It's funny because, like, my brother told me, Joe, you like a dog sometimes. I mean, when you see a bone, you just chew on the bone and you don't want to let go. You're like a pit bull. And I think that's a lot. It has to do with your mental. It's like, I want to solve this problem. I want to solve this problem and I know I can do it. And if I can't do it, I need to make sure I get someone that can do it. Right. So I think it's very much about solving problems. But then, yeah, you get tired. I mean, like I've watched sometimes, even today, it happens to me. I'm like, because I've been an entrepreneur almost all my professional life. I would say, yeah, most of my professional life, I've been an entrepreneur. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, I wonder if if I would apply to this job, if someone would take me. This job sounds interesting. Should I maybe apply to it and just see what happens? So you have those moments where you are. It's not about that you doubt yourself. I don't think so. It's just about asking yourself if you still want to do this, or if you ask yourself, if I had chosen this path, how would my life be, right? And then you go back to your reality where you tell yourself, would I accept having a boss? Would I be comfortable doing this 9 to 5 and just doing one thing? And do I what do I really love? And then you go back to the fact that, yeah, I love being an entrepreneur. I like creating, I like innovating, I like solving problems, and I like to have this control that the decisions that I make are the things that are making this movie, right? And I have this freedom of, if I do that, I mean, at least in a latter stage of the entrepreneurship, it's like, if I choose not to work, I won't work, right? So I mean, like, or if in your younger days as an entrepreneur, you can do it. I mean, you can choose not to go to work one day, but you know also how much you will lose if you do not work, right? But it's this freedom of being able to do what you want, actually. I think that's, yeah. But yeah, many times over, I've asked myself, why am I doing this?
What's one common piece of business advice that people give and you disagree with?
Good question. Good question. I think in the beginning I was like starting to agreeing with it because it was resonating with me, and it's this life, how do you call it? Life work balance. Today I don't agree with the life work balance. Why? Because I was in a session with a guy that it was like an executive workshop, and this the guy said, there's no such thing as life work balance. And everybody was like, oh, because everybody talks about life work balance and so on and so forth. And the trinity of work, life, and then yourself, or work, life, spiritual, whatever you want. And he was like, there's no such thing as work life balance, because there's only one thing, there's life. So I start thinking about what he said, and I was like, it's true. I mean, it's life. And then it's about how you choose and how you prioritize your life. But life is life. So there's no such thing as life work balance. So now this has become my mantra. Maybe my wife is not going to be happy with it, but that's it, right? It's just life. I mean, if I need to work 16 days 16 hours in a day, I will do it. But then at the same time, I might take 2 days off and be with my kids. I think it's more about focusing on the now, right? So if you are with your kids, focus on your kids, focus on that time. If you are with your family, your wife, your parents, whatever, you focus on that time and you try to push the other stuff away, see them as a distraction. And if you're working, you do the same thing, you focus on that. I think that's the way, a little bit like you when you work with a project, right? So you got several different stuff within a project, and to be able to be a very good project manager, you got to be able to focus and prioritize. And that's how you actually get to live, or to have a life that you might be, or at least at the end of your life, you will tell yourself, I've done good. I've done okay. My life has been good. Now I can sleep.
At what point did you decide to pursue the OPM program at Howard Business School? And how did you select this program out of everything else that's out there?
Yeah. So I started thinking. So I think it was around 2000 and no 2019, 2018, 19. I started thinking about doing an MBA, because I was like, I had several years of experience. I had grounds and operational knowledge, but I wanted somehow to feel and confirm to myself, but also make sure I had the right tools to bring the business forward. I felt that I needed to go back to school basically. So I started looking at MBAs and obviously I looked at several schools, several different continents, and then my CFO at the time, he started an MBA and an executive MBA in one school in, I think it was Warwick or something like that, in the UK. And so we were talking. I was like, "Oh, it's great that you did it." And I told him, "Listen, I want to do the same." And he's the one who told me. He told me, "Listen, Joe, you know what? I think you should do something else than MBA. I think you should do an executive program. Instead of an executive MBA, you should do an executive program that 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 where, because I feel that you have more seniority, it would be better for you to do so." And I had skimmed through HBS different programs, and there was a friend of mine who had done advanced management program, AMP, who said that it was great, it was good, but it was more for executives. So when I actually read OPM and understood that OPM was focused, or was for owners of businesses, that's what drew me, or that's what drew me to it, because it was you got things, you got the it was about getting the education, but with this ownership perspective, which was exactly where I was. But it still took me like 2 years to apply, because of life and because of work. It took me 2 years to apply, until I finally went to like an information session. Um, and then after the information session, I talked to the program manager, who also talked to me about the content, about the people, about the all the value add it could bring, and the fact that it wasn't like the way it was built was also very interesting. That it was built in units. You had unit 1, 2, 3, and the idea behind it was that after each unit you would go and implement it in your business and then come back. So I also liked the way it was built, and this is why I chose OPM, and it's something that I believe that it's actually the best investment that I've done in my life.
Phenomenal. I do agree with you that being surrounded by a cohort of business owners brings out a different quality of conversation.
Exactly.
I think it's very personal for each one of us, right? All the gains, of course, are good, but I think for every failure that you go through, every learning curve you go through, right, it's very personal as well out there. The blame stops with you as well.
Yeah.
And so the quality of conversations that come out being in a room surrounded by such individuals who are willing to put everything on the line, not just once, but over and over, like yourself. You're a serial entrepreneur, you said at the start. Phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, and it's like you said, like it's not only business owners, but business owners from different sectors, from different parts of the world, some younger, some older, but each and everyone is there to learn, right? So each and everyone becomes a student. So you can be sitting beside someone who has a business who is like 10 times bigger than yours. But that person is learning the same way you are learning. That person is listening to your answers, your reflections. So it's very humbling experience, but also at the same time one of the best learning experience you can have, because it has all these mixed sauces, and the fact that it also is a community. When you're done, when you finished, you are in this community and you continue to learn from each other. That's very powerful, very powerful.
You did the OPM program about 10 cohorts ago. I don't know how many years ago that was. Was that
I
4
don't
years
even
ago?
know how many cohorts there are left, but I was 59.
59, yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that?
So we started in 2001. We were actually one of the first. I think we were the second online cohort. So we did a full online unit. The first unit was online, completely online. So that was 2001, and we finished in 2023.
Oh, you mean 2021 and 20?
2021 and 23. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any cases you remember from your 3 units that still come to you on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, there are several cases, and I've gone back to them to read them. When I've been like when I've been working, or when I've stepped into an issue, or when I've been thinking and strategizing about a solution. So there are several different cases. Some finance cases, a lot of cases around teamwork, because by the end of unit 3, we were restructuring the business. So a lot of what I've learned, I tried to implement it in our business. And that's not the music business, it's more the HR business, the family business. So I went through a lot of different cases just to understand and just to make sure that what I was bringing to the table was for the benefit of the structure. Um, and but I would say it's very difficult. I know where you're going, but it's very difficult to name like one case that is the wow case. But one case that I believe has made most impact for me since, in terms of thinking uh, business wise, is the Disney. I think it's the Disney case where I really actually understood what building an ecosystem was, and how important or how effectful the a network could be. So the ecosystem building and the network effect really started to resonate after I read that case. And today, that's what I'm implementing almost in every business I'm doing. In my investments is, okay, I'm building an ecosystem. What needs to be in this ecosystem, and how much effect can each and every business I'm looking at, or each and every channel I'm creating, how much effect does it have on the rest of the ecosystem, right? And this is how I understood the Disney case really, and this is what I'm implementing. So I would say that's probably one of the ones that have made most effect for me.
Thank you. In closing, my last question to you would be, if you could go back to a younger version of yourself, what advice would you give him?
A younger version of myself. So I will give you three answers.
Hmm.
First answer is personal. So the first answer is, make sure you have kids with the right person. The second one is, always try or continue, because this is what I've done. Continue to believe in the fact that you can do it. When you put your mind to it, you can actually do it. And the third advice would be, thank you, or like, make sure you do OPM. Make sure you do OPM again. So make sure you continue to educate yourself, and continue to educate yourself, and just continue to learn. Make sure you learn from each and every step you make, because when you're young, sometimes you forget that. You forget because, one, either you believe that you are already there. Two, you don't listen. You just talk, but you don't listen, so you don't learn. And three, you think that everything is about work, 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 making money, and you focus too much on things that maybe are not the most important.
Thank you. Actually, I do have one more question. Is there any book you've read which has influenced your mindset a lot you want to talk about?
Yeah, yeah. I would say The Alchemist. It's probably one that a lot of people say, but yeah, The Alchemist.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your time a lot, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, let's stay in touch, and thank you, and keep on doing what you're doing. It's great. And sorry again for the disturbance, but I hopefully you will just cut it and edit it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye bye. Take care.